Good morning and good evening, my dear beloved friends. A warm welcome to one and all of you. And I'm very, very delighted. It's my pleasure. It's a great honor to be part of these sessions. And the speciality of these sessions are these are really helping people to progress forward in their lives. And um, it is creating a lot of positivity. And most importantly, it also builds the human relationship. And in life, we don't have time to dedicate towards these kind of aspects. We have time for everything. We have time for work. We have time for sports. We have time for swimming. We have time for dogs and we have time for cats. But we do not have time to introspect our position um, towards this mankind and how well we are placed in terms of building that relationship and how positively you are progressing forward in your life and consistently are you being defeated as a person, as a human being, and is there any kind of remediation plan that you are enrolled towards the futuristic short-term plan, long-term plan, and all that. So what happens is at some point of time, since you have not paid attention to these kind of serious problems, it's like slow poisoning, right? It's like slow killing poison. Then finally you land up in psychiatrist doctor's office, or you may also go to some counseling sessions, depending on your religion and doctrines and what is being preached over there or taught over there, right? Neither of these are going to be quick solutions because why? It was too late for you to discover your position. And that's the reason why you should be always pressing hard to focus on the human values, on the human relationships. It may sound a little philosophical, but then you will understand if you go to our playlist or channel and then you look at the 50 plus videos what we have already uploaded. These are the things which we don't pay attention, and that's why we always get into sorts of problems, breakups in relation. I'm not talking about the live-in relationship, but even in the married life we break up, right? Or husband and wife live, they don't talk to each other for 20 years, something like that. All right, one such topic we picked, much in correlation to what I've already been talking, right, in the past 2-3 minutes. It's about human trust, or trust among the mankind, trust among the human relationship, right? We are going to discuss a little bit about this human trust and stuff like that. But as usual, we enter into the basics to discuss on the definitions. The definition, by definition, if you see the trust is, it's a firm belief in the character or the strength or the truth of someone or something he placed his trust in me, right? Somebody trusts you blindly and you also trust somebody blindly. Or maybe you develop that trust over a period of time. These are the things which money cannot buy, right? And what a great investment. And what happens is, because of some crazy incident, because of a crazy problem, because of one fight, this long time investment to build that trust suddenly crumbles down. And that is where we have a problem in life, right? Another definition says a person or a thing in which confidence is placed. Yeah, person, your own parents, your own wife, your own husband, children, or confident people I waited in trust of their return, right? You break the trust, but then you want them to come back and patch up with you. That is also another desire, which is also part of human values and human relationships. um, if you There are various aspects to discuss in this concept called as trust. How does this human trust build? Many people have this question all the time, right? People feel always trust when they rely on one another. In the relationships we have, it's a life is like a journey, it's like a train, and you will see many passengers getting in and getting out of your life. But we build trust through this vulnerability. It's always dangerous scenario, because you trust a person and you don't get that complete faith. So you always have that dangerous feeling in your heart. Am I doing the right thing or something like that? See, in other words, trust is developed when our partners have the chance to let us down or hurt us. Why? It sounds negative, isn't it? But when they let us down and hurt us, that is when we get to know that no human being is to be trusted 100%, because all human beings have shortcomings. All human beings have some or other weaknesses. Therefore, it's not possible for any human to trust another human 100%, That's when you will learn your lessons, that you should have a certain threshold or a limitation to trust somebody, but you need to patch up those gaps introduced in that trust which is broken within yourself. You need to inculcate that skill within yourself, because there is a limit that you could depend on others, but there are lots where you can inculcate inside of you, right? That is actually called as partnership and trust. Some aspects come out of you, some aspects you depend on others and they give into inside of you, right? It's give and take. So in a different way, if you want to attempt to rebuild trust, here are some good starting points, and we are going to discuss through that, right? And in other words, trust is developed when there is a breakup in that relationship, and that's when the respect builds. That's when I would say the trust moves to the next level. Why? Because all that you were assuming is going to work blindly, without any practical exposure, without any ground level reality. Now everything came to light, and now you know what is the limit that you should not exceed, what is the limit that you should not allow others to exceed into your boundaries. You should always draw that circle, and to draw that circle, experiences only can teach you, right? It doesn't come just like that in one overnight. Now, we feel miserable whenever, when somebody breaks your trust or something like that. Having someone breaking your trust can leave you feeling hurt, shocked, and even sometimes, you become sick, mentally depressed, and you may get a, body chills and fever, or you may get into all sorts of problems. So you may not eat properly, you become very weak and stuff like that, because these are the things which impacts the mind, and mind impacts the body in return. It might prompt you to consider your relationship and your partner, whomever with you fought with, right, in a different way. If you see, if you want to attempt to rebuild trust, then you should be the first person who should step forward. Never expect the other person who broke the trust. Probably they broke the trust, but then you're not able to take this in. Then what are you waiting for? Why can't you take that first leap? That's where the ego is put to test, right? And when the relationships are broken, that's where the egos are put to test. Who's more egoistic than the other person will come to light. And that's a crazy thing, right? Now, there are three fundamental elements in this trust. Always you need to think of this. There is a positive relationship, and that's called as, trust is part of, I would say trust is in part based on the extent to which a leader is able to create that positive relationship. Now, who is the leader here? The person who always takes the first step, the person who always takes the efforts to build that relationship or rebuild that relationship, right? When the relationship is broken, he doesn't give up. He understands, okay, there are certain shortcomings, but he takes that step forward. Probably you can be that leader, right? And that's how you build the positive relationships with other people, and it also works in the groups, especially in the corporate environment, right? Second element is you got to be strong in judging, right? And therefore you can avoid before something goes wrong. You can always avoid that. It is called as, preventive measure than a corrective measure. Corrective measure happens after everything crumbles down. Preventive measure, before you fall down or you allow somebody to hurt you, you can prevent it. Why? Because you're good at judging, right? That's very important aspect. The third is consistency in judging, consistency in preventing things, and all that also will tell you that as you sail along in your life, you will always be consistent in safeguarding that relationship, right? These are the very important things. Now, why do humans need to trust each other? Why do they actually trust? Can they live without trust? That's a very important question to answer. So the one that's the glue of the society, right? The glue of the society is called as trust by definition. In society, if you're living, every being need another human being support. Human beings need each other. We're living in this world filled with human beings, not with some computers or robots or something like that, right? Its presence, cements relationships by allowing people to live and work together to build this society, to build our lives. We have to work together, because where there is harmony, where there is unity, you will see the development and growth happening greatly. Good example is country like Japan, very small country, but so many millions of trillions of money India had borrowed from that Bank of Japan. Yeah, small country funding to a big country like India. And I leave it to the listeners' imagination. The rest half of the story, you can get into your imagination, right? When you're living together, when you're working together, you feel so secured, safe, and you have that confidence to build it together. And Trust in a leader allows organizations and communities to flourish, right, to prosper. While the absence of trust can cause split ups, fragmentation, kind of conflicts, and you will see there is also war happening, cold wars happening, right? They don't talk at each other, they frown at each other, or they bite each other like dogs, and this is how you see human beings behaving. Now, now that introduces another question: who at all do we trust the most? There is a study which says these are the bunch of people generally people trust the most, and they also can get into corruption, which they definitely don't tend to look forward. See, that is where we got to be very careful, right? For example, people trust scientists, people trust doctors, teachers, armed forces, for example security, bodyguards, bouncers, right? And people trust police, right? Police personals, and what to say, priests, the bankers, and marketing executives. Some people can clearly fool you. That's the talent of some marketing agents. Executives, government ministers, politicians, right, come to the bottom of the list. But still, people trust politicians in election campaigning. Last 3 months matters. Whatever they can talk and convince people, they win, right? Now, all these people, not necessarily they are trustworthy. You need to still judge and be consistent in your judging skills. Only then you can kind of safeguard your trust, to whom you can basically depend or extract that good, right? And that is useful for you. Although the list says that they have taken a sampling study across the world, across the globe, and they found these are the 16 or 17 people blind, or categories of people they blindly trust. I also trust, you also trust, knowingly or unknowingly, right? Now, why you should never trust anyone is also another question. Blindly, right? That's what I meant to say. Human beings are not perfect, I told this before. And so trusting in someone is like taking risks in our life. Our reliability is something that cannot be erased from our lives, agreed. But at the same time, it is a dangerous thing to trust in a fallible thing which is not quite sturdy, right? Imperfection is the reason why you should not trust anyone blindly. You need to really judge, you really need to get into some sort of reasonings and studies and etc. Take enough time before you trust somebody. Somebody smiles so well and handshakes and hugs and kisses you, you cannot trust them immediately. That's a problem with many people, right? And there are different conditions of trust. For example, the first condition is communication. How is your communication with that person? That is the first condition to measure the trust. Second thing is the competency, right? How skilled that person is, and how much he is meeting your expectations. That is the next way to measure. Third is like how much of empathizing skills are in him. Is he a person who's tending to help you, or who's always extracting help? Some people, they gel with you only to extract the information and extract the help also. They don't do anything. Why you should trust that person? Have friendly relationship. If you can help, you help, but never, it can never to be converted to the next level of trust, right? Something called as trust. So you need to really watch out on all this. Now, another thing is like, what is the one word rule for trust? There are some rules and regulations, some norms, right? It's important to know that trust is about individuals. You believe that or not? It's not about groups. Individuals, no groupism here. Don't judge just what someone says based on whatever other people are inducing in your ears as facts, or scenarios or use cases or whatever. Judge what they do against what they say, or whatever you witness in your eyes. Actions, at least consistent ones, do speak louder than words. Yeah, but they don't speak in a vacuum. In a air you cannot hear anything, but then when you get into action and you witness, then you definitely have a better understanding of what this is all about. Now, how do you know if someone trusts you? It's about you. It's not about you versus others, it's about others versus you. This is a brief checklist, right? They show a lot of compassion and humility when they interact with you. They respect your boundaries, they compromise, and they don't expect something for nothing, right? And they are very very relaxed, and they are very very respectful when it comes to time, and they show a lot of gratitude. These are the signs, um, that you will understand if someone else is actually trusting me or believing me. You will see these kind of behavior in the other person. And I told you it's not group versus group, it's individual versus individual. That's how it is. You may have 6 friends, out of which 4 you need not trust, and for 2 of them you may trust. Among the two, you need to really look upon their expressions and their behavioral pattern whenever you get in, whenever you gel along, whenever you go outside or you work together at workplace. These are some of the things you will be able to measure, or you should be measuring, to come to a conclusion whether the person is trusting me or not. How should you measure yourself in trusting others? We have already spoken, right? Now, lastly, we will see this, and with that we will close. How can you fix broken trust in a relationship? And relationship means between the married partners. It could be between colleagues, it could be between children and parents, it could be between parents and children, either ways, or in any relative circle, right? You need to be the first person to take the first step to rebuild the trust, right? If the other person takes it first step, be very thankful. Don't have that ego. You see, I was right, you are wrong. Don't work upon your ego. Be very humble, right? The other person is anyway coming. Handshake and fine, get along, move along. Decide to forgive. Forgiveness is one important aspect, and make a conscious decision to love by trying to let go of the past. Do not keep rewinding the tape. Human memory is so sharp when it comes to bad things, negativity, when it comes to all sorts of wrong things that people might have done against you. Human memory is very, very sharp and very strong in remembering. Please give away that habit. Say no to it each time it reminds, but say no to it. I've forgiven. I have nothing to do with the past. Get lost. And the memory slowly feebles up and it erases, right? Because why? You're not paying attention to that memories of that things which are really bothering you, and that breaks the trust. That's one important aspect. Okay, be open for self growth and improvement. You are not Mr. Perfect, you are not Mrs. Perfect. You also have shortcomings. The mistake that person committed today, and tomorrow you will be the person who might commit that mistake. Therefore, please go easy on such things. And you can't repair broken trust with just promises, false promises, and statements of forgiveness. It has to be translated to some sort of action. Therefore, the action can come only, from inside of you, not just in the mere words of promises. Action is different, right? Being, empathizing and being, sympathizing, and all these things are actions which proceeds out of your life. Be aware. Lastly, be aware of your innermost feelings and share your thoughts, which means be a very honest person. Even if the person comes to patch up the relationship and the guy has committed something wrong, you still got to be very honest. Hey, I was very, very shocked that you behave like this. I was very shocked to hear that you spoke like this, right? And please don't do this again, because it really, really, shook me up, and I was not normal for almost a week. And I want to be very thankful that you came forward and be, empathize, but at the same time convey a message that what he or she had done was right, or they shouldn't be thinking all is well with you. You should be very open in expressing and be very honest. Lastly, you should have an attitude that you want to make it work, right? Rebuilding the trust means that you want to make it work. For example, you are in the process of writing a program, you're a computer engineer. If there is an error, you are paid for the job, you need to chase the error and you need to fix the error, and you have to make that program work. And therefore it is deployed into a finance software or into a banking software or whatever. But then you're paid and you're not interested to fix that error, then I think you will be fired. You're not fit to be in that job. Similarly, you have the desire to fix that problem, then actually the trust builds spontaneously on its own. All right. With that, we will close the session. I hope it was a useful session. Please leave your comments in the feedback session in the YouTube channel and share it with your friends, close ones, dear ones, near ones. May all of them be benefited. And you need any new sessions, please let us know. It's a pleasure to always, develop some new topics and come and present it to you. God bless you. Stay safe. These are pandemic times. I don't think pandemic has gone anywhere. Therefore, I want you to be very, very careful. God bless you. Take care. I'll soon meet you with a new topic.